Next topic is Mission Lantana. Mission Lantana, Lantana. Mission Lantana. Lantana is a weed, in fact. I'll tell you. There is a special drive to eradicate Lantana in Sajjangarh Wildlife Sanctuary in Udaipur of Rajasthan. Lantana is a weed. The scientific name is Lantana camara. It's an American weed. It's not indigenous. It's not in India, but now it has come like Parthenium. It has come. Now you can find now everywhere, even in villages also you can find this lantana. It is a small perennial herb native to America. It is a decorative in nature, thorny, and it's an agricultural weed. What it does, it stops the natural light from falling onto the agricultural crops. When crop is sown, and then now lantana is also there side by, whatever manure, fertilizer or nutrients you are giving it to the crop plant is absorbed by the lantana. It grows faster than the original crop. Then when it is growing faster, growing in height means it absorbs the light, which generally have to fall on the crop plant. Light is required for food production. When light is avoided by this lantana, it is taking all light, and then now crop plant is devoid of light. Automatically, the crop plant will not grow vigorously. Lantana grows vigorously. So, damage lantana is creating the crop plant is very much. So, what it does, it takes the light which has to fall on the crop plant. It takes the nutrients from the soil which are given to the crop plant. It grows high. It grows more than faster than crop plant. So it stops, and then the foliage gives toxic substances, and the ripe berries, fruits of lantana, when they are ripe, they are called berries. The berries, when they are eaten by the domestic animals like cat, goat, cow, and then it causes some deleterious impact on the health of they will not die, but certainly it causes some inconvenience to the domestic animals. That's why a project is taken up in Sajjangarh Wildlife Sanctuary in Udaipur, Rajasthan. A project is taken up to completely eradicate the lantana from existence. Sajjangarh Wildlife Sanctuary, when I am talking about Sajjangarh Wildlife Sanctuary in Udaipur in Rajasthan, it is also famous for one more thing. It is a wildlife sanctuary for Indian vultures. Again, Indian vultures are critically endangered species under IUCN. Critically endangered, I told you, less than 50 population you can see on the whole earth. Then now it comes under critically endangered. That's why a sanctuary exclusively is created in Udaipur to preserve these dying Indian vultures, which are now numbered less than 50. Next topic, Nandankanan Zoological Park, Orissa. Nandankanan Zoological Park is the name of the zoological park in Orissa. Particularly, it's about 25 kilometers from Bhubaneswar. Recently, 2 sloth bears in Nandankanan Zoological Park died. 2 sloth bears died. Why is significant? If 2 sloth bears have died, how it has become significant? It is because the sloth bears were placed under a vulnerable category by IUCN. Vulnerable means less than 1,000 if you find on the whole earth, that comes under vulnerable category. In the 1,000, you have say 250 crores of human beings. See, some are dying every day. It may not be really significant, but for the individual and their family, it is significant, but not for the whole earth as a whole. But on the whole earth, you have 1,000 creatures. Out of that, 2 got died means, you see. That's how the significance has come. For sloth bears, they are tropical, subtropics, and in Sri Lanka, you will find the sloth bears. They are vulnerable category under IUCN. Habitat loss, poaching. Naturally, the habitat, you need to create a habitat specially for their living, according to their requirements, then only they can thrive. They can live comfortably. And then no breeding happens, more number of sloth bears, you can find over generations. But you see, existing habitat is getting, it's a deforestation is occurring. You are disturbing, man is disturbing the existing habitat. And then poaching is happening from one side because of various reasons. The skin is one reason. And with that, our leather goods, the fashionable leather goods, fashion industry is thriving on certain, then to produce certain other items based on bear skin. So these are the reasons. That's why government wants to conserve this in a systematic way. Talking about Nandankanan, it is the first zoo to be a member in World Association of Zoos and Aquariums. Nandankanan Zoological Park is also significant because it is the breeding station for Indian pangolin and white tiger. Pangolin is an anteater. An anteater is by name pangolin. Pangolins are preserved in Nandankanan Wildlife Sanctuary, Zoological Park, and Nandankanan happened to be a breeding station for pangolins also. World's first crocodile breeding center is also there in Nandankanan. Right. Moving on to the next topic, sandalwood spike disease. Sandalwood spike disease. A bacterial parasite called Phytoplasma. It transmits to vectors, insects as a vector. Vector means is a mediator. Insect bites, insect damages the plant. After this, it goes to some other plant. And while it is going to that plant, when it is biting the plant, the diseased part also it bites. It also carries the disease. When it is going to the next plant, it carries disease with it. It is called a vector transmission. Transmission is happening. It's a vector transmission. Vector is an insect here. It is found in Kodagu area in Karnataka recently. Leaf reduces in size. There will be nodes in the plant. Internodal distance gets reduced, and there will be brown patches on the leaves. These are the criteria. These are the symptoms for the disease. There is no cure for disease. No medicine is available. It's only you have to take out the leaf. When you find a diseased leaf, you have to cut the leaf. That is the only disease. Cutting down is the only disease. Through this disease, 1 to 5% of the existing plants are dying in India. Already the sandalwood, the availability of sandalwood trees is very less. Particularly in India, in a limited area, they are available, not throughout the country. They are available in Seshachalam range in AP, parts of Karnataka. These sandalwood trees are grown. They are not. There should be a separate condition requirement for growth of sandalwood trees. Karnataka has got a congenial atmosphere for raising sandalwood trees, and Seshachalam hill ranges, that is the Tirumala, everything now from Kadapa, Seshachalam range hills also are suitable for raising sandalwood trees. So with the limited sandalwood trees, you need to conserve the sandalwood trees from all diseases, from all insects, from all poaching activities. There is another sandalwood called red sandalwood. Red sandalwood is not the sandalwood. There are two different things. Red sandalwood will not come under the genus itself is different. Sandalwood is called as Santalum. Santalum alba is the name of original sandalwood from which the Mysore sandalwood industry is thriving. Sandalwood oil, Mysore sandal soaps are no oil-related cosmetics. Everything is coming. There is an exclusive sandalwood factory in Mysore. Even in Bangalore also you have a sandalwood factory. So for this, the sandalwood pieces are coming from Karnataka. But Santalum alba is the scientific name of sandalwood. Red sandalwood is another tree. It is different from sandalwood tree. The scientific name of red sandal is called Pterocarpus, Pterocarpus, Pterocarpus santaliensis. Pterocarpus santaliensis is the name of red sandalwood. So red sandalwood is endemic to South India only. In northern part, you cannot find red sandalwood. In AP, Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, you will find red sandal. In the Seshachalam forest and Palakonda hill range, Palakonda in Srikakulam area, you will find these Pterocarpus, that means no red sandalwood. Red sandals, IUCN is categorized as a threatened species. Threatened means no, lot of poaching, smuggling, illegal cutting is happening. Though police and forest department are trying to protect the red sandalwood plantation, but people illegally cut the trees and then no, they are smuggled. The trees are smuggled. They are the goods is illegally sold and it goes out of the boundaries illegally. This all happening. If you see, if you follow the news regularly, you will find almost now every alternate day, once in a week, you will find information about smugglers of red sanders and then no seizure of red sander wood from the checkpost by the forest officials, by checkpost authorities. Everywhere now you can find. This is an illegal activity, and then hundreds of people come in groups during night time or early hours. They go into the forest, and it's an organized criminal activity. They cut the trees, and then no, they make into small pieces, and they transport illegally out of the boundaries. They sell it to other countries. Why this is so important? See, a kg of sandalwood, red sanders wood, a kg, a ton of red sandalwood is sold in international market at 50 lakhs to 1 crore, you see. So here, the rich hue, that means no, the pinkish, the brownish pink color of the wood is no costly wooden furniture is made out of this wood. Apart from this, it is used for therapeutic purposes. High demand in China and Japan. It is used in cosmetics. It is used in medicine. It is used in fine craft items. Finely crafted artistic art pieces can be made out of red sandalwood wood. So cosmetics, medicinal, woodworks, and musical instruments, very high quality, high standard musical instruments will be prepared out of red sandalwood wood. That's why it is in great demand. In China and Japan, it's not available. That's why they need to buy from the smugglers from India. That's why illegal tree felling activity is going on in a rampant way. Moving on to the next topic, Soneratia alba, Soneratia, Soneratia alba alba. It is a deciduous tree. It is a mangrove tree species. Mangroves again, no, in mud. Between estuaries, mangrove is the area, no, where a sea and then no sea water and then fresh water are about to join. The land piece in between that, if it's a landlocked area where sea water and then no fresh water are mixing, that particular area is called estuary. In the estuaries region, the mangroves, the origin of mangroves happen from there. These mangrove is a different kind of ecosystem, different fauna, a specific flora can be seen, which you can't see generally in other areas. Other forests, either deciduous, semi-deciduous, and then rainforests, you will not find these flora and fauna. That's how the mangrove vegetation, mangrove forest is a classic by itself. Soneratia alba is a name of mangrove tree species which is declared as a state mangrove tree by Maharashtra government. That is the significance. Mangrove tree generally nobody declares as a state tree. But here Maharashtra government has taken a step to declare a mangrove tree as their national mangrove tree. It's an evergreen mangrove tree. It belongs to a family called Lythraceae, not required. 5 feet, it grows up to 5 feet. The flowers will be white in color, but the base of the flower will be pink in nature. Fruits are green. These fruits can be utilized to preparing pickles, just like your mangoes, and then your I've forgotten the name. The small yellow colored thing also you use as pickle. These green berries, green fruits of Soneratia alba will also be used as a pickle. It combats, what is the use of this plant is that it combats land erosion. Wherever land is getting eroded, if you plant a tree there, Soneratia alba, it adheres the soil particles from moving. That means it has got a binding capacity through its root system. It binds all soil particles together and it now holds the soil from erosion. That is the importance of Soneratia alba. One more topic. I'll know. I will go with one more topic, and then I will stop. Next is cannabis. 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 UN Commission for Narcotics. Narcotic drugs. UND. CND is the name of that commission. Commission on Narcotic Drugs, CND. CND is a UN commission. United Nations Commission is United Nations body is CND. Recently, the CND has reclassified this cannabis, opium, out of most dangerous category of drugs. The CND will have a charter. They will have schedules. Schedule 4 E of CND names all plants which come under very dangerous category drugs like heroin, opium. These are all there. Opium comes from cannabis, cannabis sativa. Cannabis is the plant name. Cannabis is the scientific name of the opium plant. So, like heroin, opium was also categorized under Schedule 4 of original Commission on Dangerous CND, narcotic drugs. Cannabis was placed under a dangerous narcotic drug category by CND. But now recently, they have taken out the cannabis from that category and they started promoting cannabis for medicinal activities. So it has removed cannabis from Schedule 4 of 1961. Earlier, it was categorized as deadly addictive opioids like heroin. It is now encouraged for medical purposes. It has got a psychoactive constituents. The cannabis, last time also we have discussed while talking about the cannabis, I told you 2 drugs come out of cannabis leaf. One is THC. THC, that means delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinol. Delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinol, otherwise called THC, is a drug used to treat the psychologically imbalanced patients. That is called psychoactive treatment. This particular drug is used, THC. THC comes from cannabis plant. When you are using it for a medicinal purpose, they felt it is no more wiser to keep it under most dangerous addictive opioid. Instead, it can be taken out under guarded supervision, under permissions. People can be given license to grow it so that it can be used for medicinal purposes. Commission on Narcotic Drugs is located in Vienna. It is formed in 1946. Schedule 4 of CND is to denote the deadly drugs and deadly products coming either from plants or animals. I think with this, we conclude our lecture today. I went very slowly because now these are science related topics where most of the scientific names are there and you are not familiar with the topic already. I went now very slowly. Anybody has got any doubt now in this part of the lecture? Please ask me.
Any doubts, students?